Hey guys, this is Bingo's Adventures back with another review, and today we're going to be looking at the Tarzan and His Mate. My apologies about my voice. I'm still slowly recovering, so please be um patient and stuff. So today we're going to be looking at Tarzan and His Mate 1934, and we have some info about the movie. The budget was around $1,279,000, and it made back $2.2 million, and it was a success. So yeah, the this film brought on more Tarzan films. As you may know, Johnny Weissmuller did 10 more films after this initial uh Tarzan the Man and then its sequel. So yes, it he did make a lot of he did make a dozen Tarzan films, and of course they are there's a whole bunch more Tarzan films I have in my collection that whenever I eventually do a DVD collection review, or not DVD collection, you guys will see, and you guys will probably be surprised. So we'll just get into it. This review for right now, I will talk about my Blu-rays or my DVDs and stuff in a future video. So hopefully, whenever I move and get my own place, I will show you guys my DVDs and Blu-rays and some 4Ks I got. So yeah, uh, there was also some controversy. Back to the info. There was also some controversy with Jane's costume because this was made in between the Hays Code and uh, pre Hays Code, and then 1934 is whenever they had to start censoring films and stuff. So yeah, they this was like one of the last films that did it. She is basically in a bikini, kind of like, yeah, and they made her wear more like a one piece dress jungle outfit afterwards. Uh So, yeah, and the characters are basically the same we see, except for a new cast member. I forgot to write his name down, unfortunately, but he is our villain of the movie. So, yeah, we actually have a villain this time. We're gonna start on our first scene, and that is we see Harry back getting ready to start a new safari, as if you didn't remember the last movie where he, at the end of Tarzan the Man 1932, he did mention to Jane that he would be back to start a new safari, and she congratulated him on that as her and Tarzan waved goodbye because she decided to stay in the jungle with him. So that's a little recap of what happened at the end of that. Which, yeah, for we he's getting ready to start a new safari for the elephant graveyard. My thoughts, I thought it was alright. Some of them I kind of not did many thoughts uh, because there wasn't much thoughts in each scene that I thought. So the next scene is that we see a man named Martin, and he's better than the previous Tarzan's film that I reviewed, which is Tarzan the Fearless, which is supposed to be a sequel. Which I think he's a better villain than Jeff, I believe his name was. Yeah, he's a better villain than that. Um, and Martin meets Harry on a boat, and he seems to be in an affair with another woman who is like a very, very, very much like she just appears in this one scene, and this French man. So I'm pretty sure they're both from France, or he came from both from France, and he was like making out with this woman. I don't know, but he was having an affair with this woman. So yeah, we also, as the two chat with the French couple for a little bit, and then the two leave the boat. Harry makes sure Martin takes a bath, which I kind of got uncomfortable about because, like, yeah. And also, I believe there's another character named Beamish. He appears, I think he also appears literally in the next film as well, but I think he plays more of an important role in the next film. Please comment and let me know. Of course I will answer the comments in future videos like I did the one with um in Alice in Wonderland, or the movie the King Kong or Son of Kong. Yeah. Uh which I will eventually do more films on that. Uh so yeah, the next, well, he Martin takes a bath in the comfortable scene, as he tells Martin his plans on bringing back Jane. Like, he buys her a bunch of clothes. He has Martin buy her a whole bunch of clothes and stuff that we see later on. My thoughts is it is a bit. I'm a bit uncomfortable in the scene. Yeah, like I said, the next scene is with Harry and Martin find the two guys from earlier. Yeah, there's like these two guys. They don't play much of a role. They end up dead, like in the next few scenes. Um, they, the two guys from earlier, I don't even know who they was exactly, but they did take off to go to the elephant graveyard, and they left earlier. My apologies. I'm still recovering from the sickness. I, my apologies. I suck with this cough. But the next, uh, they just head. They get ready to pack up and leave. So that's what they do. And I don't have my thoughts because I don't really have any thoughts. The next scene is after a long hot walk. So they was probably walking for like a whole day, and they walk with the safari, and realize that the other safari is nearby, and they end up walking more. The next scene is that we see Harry and Martin walking into a very gruesome attack. Yes, this movie, both the movie Tarzan of the Apes, which had that gruesome uh gorilla attack, I find it as close gruesome to this because we actually do see what happens to those guys. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I would I wouldn't be surprised if later Tarzan movies they kind of just don't show that as much. But yeah, these earlier Tarzan movies, they don't play. They don't play. Uh, so yeah. Um, and yeah, they learn the other safari is dead, like I said a while back. Um, and realizing there's another tribe, which isn't the tribe from the previous movie, which thankfully I hope they don't do any more of that stuff, but knowing this is Tarzan movies, I would not be surprised, and it's not okay, guys. But this tribe seems more threatening, in my opinion, as they run after trying to run away from the tribe and the tribe attacking them. My thoughts, like, yeah, I thought it was gruesome, yes. The next scene is that we see them climbing up the cliff as a few apes attack the safari with rocks. So some of the safari unfortunately fall off the the cliff. Tarzan soon stops the apes with his yell again, his iconic yell, and soon they reach the top. Harry and Tarzan reunite once more as Martin introduces himself. So, yeah, he kind of flirts with Jane, or like he kind of eyes her up and down because, yeah, there's multiple guys in love with Jane. Uh, and my thoughts, I can tell you, they want. I can tell why they wanted Jane to change outfits later on because she does kind of show a bit of skin, but in this one, I'm not gonna lie. But I mean, I don't think the actress or anything said that she was uncomfortable. I don't know if she was uncomfortable or what, but I mean, she rocked that outfit though. Um, the next scene is that we see Jane at as camp with Harry and the others as they show Jane different outfits, which she has worn dresses, which after this scene in particular, we don't really see her take the items anywhere, or I don't know if we see her in the other dresses later on or what happens. Um, Hold on, I gotta pause again because I'm sick still, trying to recover. Sorry for the cuts and stuff. I just have terrible cough. But yeah, as they try to persuade Jane into going back into civilization, and she just refuses, saying that I want to stay with Tarzan. So yeah, and while Harry is helping a tribesman, Martin takes Jane as they go on a little dance because they bring her a music player and play like the latest song or something, and he just dances and kisses her, and I'm like, well, my dude, she's taken by Tarzan, and Tarzan doesn't play, because he's quite a serious fellow when it comes to Jane and stuff. So, um, Tarzan discovers what music is, or what a music player is, and he takes Jane back up to the tree because I feel like he senses something going on between everybody, and he was uncomfortable seeing her in a dress. By the way, that dress looked pretty cool, in my opinion. I think that was the highlight of the movie, was that dress. Um, So yeah, my thought is like, why is it now that Martin wants Jane? Yeah, it doesn't really explain it because he's just out to take Jane away from Tarzan and Harry. Which, if you didn't know, Martin is a player, in my opinion, because we literally, from his introduction, we see him have an affair with another chick. So yeah, he's a player. The next scene is like the next day. Tarzan and Jane wake up in their nest, which I do hear like in the next movie they actually have a house. So, and Jane explains to the camp like, hey, Tarzan can make shelters and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was working on the treehouse in this movie or for like a few years. Because yeah, I did hear the location changes in the next movie. Um, or like their home location changes. So Tarzan wants Jane to swim, and yeah, that they go down to take a swim. My thought is like, I thought it was a sweet scene between them interacting because we don't we only see like a few scenes of them interacting, and then the other parts just these two guys taking away Jane. So even though it does say Tarzan and his mate, we don't really see them interacting that much in this movie, which is kind of sad. But we do see them do like we see them do interact a little bit. So the next scene, and this is what I like to call Jane and parallel moments, because Tarzan and Jane go on a swim together as Jane almost gets attacked by a lion. Yes, she gets up and tries. Oh, and also the swim. It's probably one of the iconic scenes of the movie because I did hear like there are different versions, because the version I got, or the one on the physical meet DVD release, she is in her birthday suit. So yeah, um, yeah, like yeah, she just got in her birthday suit because Tarzan took off her dress to go on a swim. Um, so yeah, Jane almost gets attacked by a lion. Tarzan attacks the lion as it runs away. That could have gotten cut because why is Jane now getting attacked, even though we did hear like from the previous movie it's kind of like a downgrade of her being like supposed to be, taking care of herself, even though in a later scene at the ending, I do gotta say she kind of defends herself at the end, which we will get to when we get to the next scene is that we see Tarzan is clearing a trail with elephants as Jane is playing in the trees. She's in her safari outfit, so that dress is gone. Um, she's in her safari outfit um from the first film. So Yeah, we see Jane in the safari outfit for a little bit, and then around the end of the movie, she's back in her two-piece dress outfit. Um, so yeah, Jane is playing in the treetops with Tarzan, and they go quickly on the trail. She's like laughing in the treetops with Tarzan, and her and Tarzan rest for a minute as um as a rhino attacks Jane and Cheetah's mom. Oh yeah, Cheetah's mom sacrifices herself. Yes. Um, if you didn't know, Cheetah had a mom that sacrificed herself, trying to protect Jane. As Tarzan eventually kills the rhino, the rhino, the rhino. I don't know. I think I did hear like I don't know. I just kind of like, why is Jane getting attacked by so many creatures now? Uh, my thoughts is like, man, this scene changed the mood. It did. It changed the mood quickly because Jane was like all playing in the trees, and then like the sad scene of a death of a character, a death of an animal. Um, it was kind of sad, and then the next scene is that we see Tarzan making Cheetah's mom a grave. Yes, this movie gets dark in some scenes, and this is probably one of the darkest. As Jane gets attacked once again by a leopard and a cheetah. So, like, these three scenes, she gets attacked by four freaking animals. What the heck? Like, it gives me Mary vibes, but I believe Mary got, like, attacked more than Jane did from Tarzan and the Fearless. Like, Mary is like the worst female protagonist, in my opinion, because she's literally a damsel in distress. And I just hope we don't have her like Lois Lane, Jane as Lois Lane in the Superman verse. If you don't know the early Superman shorts, she gets in trouble a lot. So, yeah. And I remember watching those animated shorts a lot, so I know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, Tarzan saves Jane from both attacks, and as it was like an intense battle, yeah, that crocodile, it lasted for a good few minutes. So, yeah, it was intense. My thoughts is like, I just kind of wish Jane didn't get into trouble, like literally in every scene. Yeah, that's literally my thoughts, and that's what I was saying right now. The next scene is that we see the safari. Yes, after a few scenes of that going on, we go back to the safari. And the safari tells Jane to let Tarzan know about the ivory. He refuses because he says, why are you dealing with elephant graves? You guys need to go home. So, we see an elephant And Martin has the good idea of shooting an elephant. Tarzan attacks Martin, and Jane is like, "Don't kill him, Tarzan." And he just lets the safari go on. So he does. Because the elephant is dying. Literally, Martin is a villain. He's a villain. He's trying to flirt with Jane, and now he's trying to kill animals. Um, my apologies. I'm still recovering. Um, my thought is like Martin is a great villain. Like I could see now his motivations and stuff, cause cause like these villains early on just went greed. He's a lot better villain than that Jeff guy, and definitely better than that other guy that was with Jeff and Tarzan the Fearless, in my opinion. Which um yeah, like yeah, that's just all I gotta say. Um, Next scene is that we see the dying elephant take the safari to the elephant graveyard as the safari start collecting ivory, and it took them all night. And this is when Tarzan finally decides to go to that graveyard and bring a bunch of elephants to trample down the safari. And Martin can easily tricks the people because he's a manipulator. Like, dude, like, I gotta say, this dude knows his stuff. So, I think, because if he could easily trick Jane and everybody, yeah. Uh, and Jane, talks to the safari, and then we see a continuing scene. If you didn't know, Jane's father passes away from the past movie because he got attacked from the previous tribe, which I don't want to talk about the previous tribe. If you want to watch that, please watch my Tarzan and Man 1932 review. The last part in that video if you want to know what happened to her father. Um, this is already getting uh crazy. And then Jane gives Tarzan a bracelet that just gets forgotten at the end of the movie. So I don't know why they brought that in because he just loses it anyways. I thought it was a little bittersweet. Yeah, the scene was a little bittersweet. Next scene is that we see Tarzan wakes up as he tries to get food for Jane and himself. And then we see Martin wake up and he shoots Tarzan up in the tree after missing a few times, and then he finally hits Tarzan mad. He falls into the water. A hippo sees him, and the hippo eventually saves Tarzan. And like I said, Martin is planning stuff. The next scene is Tarzan calls for Tarzan as Martin tells her like a crocodile ate him, and she usually falls for it because she's heartbroken, and she goes back with the safari. Um, And Cheetah thinks like something isn't right. So he goes, like, he can see through Martin's the thing, like, through Martin's uh lies. So my thought is like, I thought was I thought Jane was better than this. Me too. I thought Jane was better than this because in the previous movie, I don't feel like she would just act this crazy or like this. Her guard would be this down, but it's definitely down in this movie. Um, Next scene is that we see a sweet scene as the apes care for Tarzan after an unnecessary scene with Cheetah getting chased by a few animals as the apes nurse Tarzan back to health. And the next scene is that we see Jane and Safari travel as back to like back to the village from earlier, and Cheetah tells Jane that Tarzan is alive, but as she's doing that and she's trying to go back to Tarzan, they get attacked by the tribe from earlier. And they're both at war, both the tribesmen and the safari, because they just start shooting guns. The tribe is shooting arrows. It's one crazy scene. Um, and yeah, Cheetah goes back to Tarzan. I'm like, my thoughts at least, they was more threatening as the last villain. Which, yeah, they was definitely better. Or, I would say they was at least more threatening this time around. Next scene is that we see Cheetah getting chased by a few more animals, of course, as they find Tarzan and warn him about Yang. And Tarzan is still injured, of course, because he literally got shot in the head again. Um, so yeah. So he uses the apes to call elephants as they all ride on elephants. The next scene is the last scene, which is a pretty brutal scene. I would say it's more sad this time around. Um, because everyone but Jane and Tarzan survives. So the only Jane and Tarzan are the last ones standing. Harry, the whole safari, um, Harry, Martin die from lion attacks because the tribe calls lions. And at least it's a lot better than a freaking gorilla that Tarzan had to fight. Like, I still don't get it why they thought that was like an actual threat, but lions are pretty scary as well. So Tarzan saves Jane time. She defends herself pretty well. She makes fire. Lions are scared of fire. So yeah, she nobody thought of making fire to get the lions away, and Tarzan saves Jane just in time. Um, and yeah, they go on elephants, and they take the ivory back to the elephant graveyard, and it's all happy for Jane and Tarzan, even though like, yeah, it's pretty bad. Like, I feel so bad for Harry because he was so hyped up in the last film and like the first part of the film, but then like literally the second half of the movie, or like when he gets to the safari, he literally has a few moments with Jane, and then he just does nothing. He just does nothing in the movie. Um, so I was like, it sucks that Harry had to die in this movie. I would have loved to see his character evolve in later movies, even though I could see why Harry had to go, because if his character was bland, his character was kind of bland in the Tarzan and the Apes, but I thought his character was gonna be better in this movie. He did kind of have more motivation, but like I thought he was gonna be like a rival to Tarzan, and yeah, like I would have loved for him to survive as Martin passed away. Um, and him being like, yeah, I will not do the elephant graveyard. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Uh, I don't know what to expect in the other Tarzan movies. I don't know um what the next Tarzan movie is about. What my guess is that maybe it's gonna be either a new safari that just hears about the elephant graveyard, tries to go get it because they heard like maybe um maybe they could go get money and stuff. So that's one theory I got. Um Another theory is that um it might be relatives of Jane, or maybe we learn about Tarzan's past, because in these first two movies we don't know nothing about Tarzan. He's just a man raised in the jungle. So I don't know if in the next movie, because the next movie I heard is called Tarzan Escapes. So either Tarzan gets pretty much in trouble in this movie and he has to escape something, which that's kind of why my prediction is like maybe it's like another bad safari that's trying to get the elephant graveyard, or it's Jane's family trying to bring her back, and they capture Tarzan to take him to like an evil tribe. That's my guess, because this is before we see Tarzan and Jane have a child. So I don't know if Jane, or I don't know what's gonna happen in the next movie, but those are my predictions. But we're gonna go ahead and go into my ratings, because the ratings are pretty high in a few of these. The story was a 4 out of 5. The story, I feel like it was better than Tarzan the Ape Man, just because we had a good villain. I liked Martin. Like, I don't like Martin, but he was a great Britain villain in my opinion. The characters was a 5 out of 5, of course. Um, except for maybe one, which is Harry, which he just kind of gets forgotten, but he kind of gets um, overshadowed by this this really like threatening tribe. So yeah, and Jane Jane I love seeing the interactions between Jane and Tarzan. So the outfits, I don't know why, but I put it as a 3 out of 5. Probably because it would have been a 4 or 5 out of 5 if we would have seen Jane in more outfits. But since she only got like one spectacular looking dress, it was it's kind of in the middle. So yeah, the settings and music pretty much the same. Pretty much, I feel like there was less locations, so that's why I think the last one I got gave it was a 4 out of 5 or a 3 out of 5. This one is still 3 out of 5. Because there was lesser locations in this. Because it was literally the same locations, and the overall rating was a 3 out of 5, as predicted. Um, if there was more stuff, like more settings and locations, and the story was a bit better, it would have gotten a little bit of higher ranking. But I still think it did better than Tarzan the Ape Man, and definitely better than Tarzan the Fearless. Thank you guys for watching, because next week we're gonna take a little break on movies, and videos will be a little more bit more shorter because we're gonna be covering more Looney Tune shorts. So yes, you guys will see me cover Looney Tunes, and yeah, I can't wait. It's been years since I last seen those Looney Tune shorts. Of course, you can watch them on my previous channel, which is Bingo's Adventures. Um, this one is Bingo's Adventures 2. Please watch my former channel if you want to watch those reviews. I've also covered Popeye reviews and Betty Boop reviews and Mickey Mouse reviews, and also doing some Wizard of Oz and Alice in Wonderland, and I might occasionally review some more films. So yeah, keep definitely subscribe to the channel, or comment some stuff you guys want to see in the future, because I will be covering all kinds of stuff on this channel. Anything to do with movies and TV shows. Uh, but what I can say, the two biggest things you guys will be able to see will be um our first, I believe our first Disney movie. Yes. Um Now you're like, wait, that's in 1937. Well, before that, Disney did a short for another movie, which was called Hollywood Party. So, we will be getting into Hollywood Party eventually. So, I can't wait to cover that movie, and see what Disney did in that film. Even though I don't think it's a full Disney movie, it does include a short. I did hear it did include a short, so I am counting that as technically our first Disney movie, and the first Disney movie that was theatrically released, even though it wasn't a full feature film, it was still in a film. So yes. And after that, we we will do a little bit. We will get into Shirley Temple. Yes. Um the famous actor in the 1930s, and she did some films in the 1940s. I will try to cover almost all of her films. That is in I found a lovely collection of like 18 movies, and I've also been slowly collecting. I think I've also gotten her other films and like her her storybook series. So, I think I almost got all Shirley Temple movies. So, I can't wait to cover her films and see like because if you don't know, I was a huge Shirley Temple fan growing up. I you can thank my grandpa, who was born in 1930s, who absolutely loved Shirley Temple, and I think I was like one of the last generations that watched that movie. So yes. Uh and then after Shirley Temple, this is another exciting announcement. We will be getting started on the Three Stooges. Yes, another very popular comedy trio that I can't wait to finally cover. And I'm sorry about all these announcements this later on in the video. I just am excited to be getting in this year of stuff like 1934 and see like where these people began or where the popularity of them rose. So, yes, I can't wait, and I will see you guys next week with a few, I would say, like maybe 2 to 3 months of Looney Tunes reviews before we go into Betty Boop and Popeye and stuff. So, keep on the lookout, and I will see you guys next week. Um, yeah, I will see you guys next week, and hopefully you guys can like and subscribe and keep up the good vibes and try to try please make more comments and so I can answer them in videos, and I will try my best, and hopefully by the time I finally get through a few Looney Tunes shorts, my sickness will finally be better. So yeah, it's just simple allergy medicines, or not allergy sinuses. So I hope that I will get better by the time those few shorts go through. So thank you guys, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.